Good morning, Southeast Idaho, and welcome to the new week. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with your weather hazard briefing for Monday, August 9th. We are expecting a really quiet, low-impact week across the region. So a few notes with that. We'll have dry northwest flow in place, bringing plenty of sunshine all week long, not expecting any precipitation across the region. Refreshing 70-degree high temperatures across the region today for Monday. Then we'll see a warming trend as we proceed through the week, possibly getting into the mid to upper 90s by the time we get out toward Wednesday and Thursday. There will be some periods of some wildfire haze and smoke continuing, and I'll show you that progression here in just a moment. Not expecting things to be as bad as what we saw a couple days ago, but some of that will still be with us. And on the fire weather front, drying relative humidity values are expected as we go over the course of the week, particularly during those afternoons. But right now, we're not seeing enough wind in the guidance to reach our critical fire weather criteria. So pretty solid confidence in these overall trends here going over the next 4 or 5 days. Current satellite loop this morning, there still is a little spin here up toward northern Idaho, and that's the low pressure system that brought a cold front and a little bit breezy conditions across the region for yesterday, Sunday. But this system is on the way out, and we have that northwest flow coming in on the backside of that low, and that's going to be with us for a few days with no other big weather makers for our area. Pretty quiet weather and impact outlook here. Kind of hard to lay out the smoke picture. Again, I'll show you that in just a moment on here, but really quiet, low impact conditions expected all week long. We will see that building heat as we head through the week, particularly by Thursday and Friday. So I've lit up the eastern Magic Valley and some of the southern Highland valleys here for hot conditions as we head into Thursday, Friday. Couple notes here. We're not quite sure yet whether or not we'll get to heat advisory criteria in these areas. Also, not expecting the brunt of the heat to really affect us here in Southeast Idaho. Just like some of the other big heat events that we've had this year, looks like Washington and Oregon, where they already have excessive heat watches in effect, may be picking up the brunt of this next heat wave, with just a little bit of that kind of making it eastward into our area here in comparison. Certainly warmer everywhere Thursday and Friday across the region, with most areas getting above 90, but those upper 90s expected in the eastern Magic Valley and southern Highlands. Watches, warnings, advisories, nothing in effect here for our Southeast Idaho forecast area. They did issue a fire weather watch as you head up here toward Bozeman or just east of Bozeman. This is going to be there's a system, a little bit of a front dropping out of Canada with some stronger winds up across portions of Montana, but that system is not expected to bring any impacts here to Southeast Idaho on Tuesday, with the exception of maybe a few clouds drifting through the area. It was really hard to remove this image from the briefing this morning. This is, again, what the smoke looked like back on Friday from the webcam that we have mounted here at our office at the Pocatello Airport. And just an incredible picture of the amount of smoke that was in the area. I show this again to emphasize we are not expecting anything like what we saw Friday in terms of smoke as we go into the next few days. We do have somewhat of a fresh air mass that's moved in behind the cold front, but I do want to give you kind of an idea of where we are expecting a little bit of haze and smoke. So we're going to switch over to one of our models here. This is the HRRR model, one of our main smoke models. And not perfect by any means, just like most of our models are, but it is useful. It does give us an idea of some of the trends that we are expecting, and kind of gives us a good idea of what to expect here over the next few days. So kicking it off this morning, this is nothing like what this model looked like, take my word for it, compared to late last week. But little bit of haze out there, particularly up north, and as we advance hour by hour here through the morning, not really expecting deteriorating conditions. I think there'll be a little bit of haze out there. Now we're into 4 o'clock this afternoon. A little bit of haze out there, but in general, things will be relatively good. Good conditions out there as far as the smoke and visibility, and may even see a little bit of improvement this afternoon. Now, as we head into this evening and you look up toward the upper left, I'm going to advance this all the way to about 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. We do start to see indications here that some better smoke and haze will be coming in on that northwest flow behind the front, starting to affect portions of Custer County here during the overnight hours. And as I advance to about daybreak or so, we'll see some of that smoke across Chalice, down into portions of Butte County, maybe Clark County, possibly starting to approach Idaho Falls. And then as we go into the day on Tuesday, some degree of smoke and haze will be on tap here, again, from the northern central mountains in Chalice, out across the upper Snake Plain, maybe getting into Idaho Falls, Driggs, Island Park, and that'll linger with us as we go into the afternoon and evening hours on Tuesday, as we go all the way out here in the model. Generally, the further south you go, looks like we'll have a little bit better conditions as far as this round of smoke. And again, this is not looking anything like what we saw late last week with the incredibly smoky conditions in our area. So with that in mind, we'll take a quick journey through the next few days here, looking at temperatures and fire weather concerns. Starting off today, it is gorgeous out there today as far as our high temperature forecast. Temperatures 70 to about 80, depending on your location here across the region. Just beautiful temperatures for this time of year. Again, not as much smoke as we've seen. Bright sunshine out there, no precipitation. We'll start to dry. We'll start to trend drier on those afternoon relative humidity values shown here on the left graphic. Maybe even starting to flirt with what we consider critical threshold, about 15% in a few spots. But generally, winds are not going to quite be strong enough for red flag concerns for our fire weather partners. Tuesday, we start to warm. Now we're into the 80s, just about everywhere here in southeast Idaho, with, as usual, the warmest values creeping into the eastern Magic Valley, also in a few of our southern valleys here. But again, looking at relative humidity and wind gusts, that drying trend continues. We're critical for the overwhelming majority of southeast Idaho as far as humidity on Tuesday afternoon, but the wind just isn't there. Again, this is wind gusts for Tuesday afternoon shown over here on the right, and we're generally running 20 miles an hour or less for both areas. Wednesday, temperatures warm just a little bit more. Now we see a few 90s starting to creep in here in the eastern Magic Valley and the valleys of the southern highlands. Still 83 in Island Park, 86 up in Stanley, 82 in Driggs. Still some critical relative humidity values for portions of the Snake Plain and southern highlands, in particular on Wednesday. But again, we're just a little lean on that wind. We're not seeing any big wind makers in the forecast this week. Thursday, so now we're starting to really get into the better heat, at least for what we're going to see out of this next heat wave. Temperatures in the upper 80s to mid 90s across the region. Still critical on our relative humidity here from the Snake Plain southward, but the winds lighten up even more. We're not expecting any wind gusts over 20 miles an hour on Thursday. Finally, Friday, as we finish off the week, starting to see even some upper 90s, 96 in Twin Falls, 98 in Shoshone, 90 all the way up in Stanley, almost 90 over to Driggs. And we'll continue with those low relative humidity values in portions of the Snake Plain and southern highlands reaching critical, but the wind just isn't there for red flag concerns. And again, not currently expecting any precipitation at all for anyone in southeast Idaho this week. And that's your briefing, kicking off the week here for Monday, August 9th. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback, as always, we are here 24/7. Feel free to reach out via email, phone, social media, as shown here on this slide. Otherwise, have a great week.